Yeah.
The haiku is, we are in heaven. The sky is an illusion, like any border. Just love that. We are in heaven. The sky is an illusion, just like any border. We are living in heaven, but in unthinkable times, unexpected times, disruptive times. Yet for many of us in this room, our day-to-day lives are no different or very little different from what they were a year ago. Sadly, that's not true for a lot of the people who live with us and among us. So, in the face of these unthinkable times, I planned for the prepared part of the service to begin early. Usually we wait for this after we've had some worship in the manner of friends, but I want to leave a more extended time for that worship. So for you to prepare for today, if you wanted, I asked Carolyn to put the poems that will be read aloud in the news sheet so that you could read them. And we remember that poets, and other writers are perhaps sometimes part of the continuing revelation of God. And I think that's what I feel with these three poems today. Crystal and John are each going to read a poem. And after each, there'll be just a couple minutes of silence for you to absorb the words. Then I will read a third poem, after which we will enter a worship time in the manner of friends. Crystal's poem is about work, hard work, really, really hard work. Some of the work that has to be done in these unthinkable times is hard. And sometimes we want to give up or let somebody else do it. But remember what Jesus says. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle in heart. And you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
So a brief intro about the poem I'm going to read. It's called Mother to Son by Langston Hughes, and it was originally published in 1922 in The Crisis, which is the official magazine of the NAACP. It still exists. I did not know this. And then it was later published in Langston's own collection of poems in 1926. That was titled The Weary Blues. And that was, again, his first poetry collection. Fun fact, before I read it, this poem was referenced at least 13 times by MLK in various speeches, including I Have a Dream. I did not know that either.
Wow.
So, and now, you're very welcome. Mother to Son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time as I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you set down on the steps 'cause you finds it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, for I's still going, honey. I's still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Our second poem today is The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. I'm sorry I didn't do the same research that you did, so I'll just go ahead with the poem. When despair of the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, I fear of what my life and my children's lives might be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with the foresight of grief. I come in the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free.
Sometimes the work we do is out there. It is part of the reality of our lives that it ain't no crystal stair. It's hard work. But sometimes the work is in here. And we know, we sometimes act like we know as Quakers what the essential part of our lives, our spiritual lives, is to be in silence with God. And the poet David reminded us, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters where the wood drake dwells. For his name's sake, he restores my soul. The next poem is different than these. This poem is called Kindness, and it is by Naomi Shahid Nye, N-Y-E. And in this poem, we are reminded that there is a lot incumbent upon us in the work that must be done. She doesn't give us a bye, so to speak. To develop compassion so we can do this work, we need to see what's on the other side of the street. We need to see what's on the other side of the town. We need to see what's on the other side of the opinions. And we need to see even what's on the other side of the borders, which are illusions. We are meant to move, I believe, from our reality to the truth. And I know that sounds just as confusing as when I say there's truth and there's facts, but the reality to me this morning is that we live in a world that's unthinkable right now. It's not the only time the world's been unthinkable, but it happens to be our time to live in it. And so we can't ignore the reality, but we must remember the truth. The truth of our lives is the light, reminding us not to react from fear or disgust or anger, but to make, as we have learned in our Quaker lives at least, love is our first motion, John Woolman said. Let love be what motivates us. And remember that Jesus said, love one another. So I'll read kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you will know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and corn, like eating maize and chicken, will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you. How he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you've been looking for. And then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. Because I'm me, I can't help but editorialize just one little bit. She writes, before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in the white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. And of course, I see Palestinians and others, but especially in Palestine, there's some visual. We must see what is happening. Let us worship in the manner of friends.